Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Locked On Seminoles, your favorite daily Florida State sports talk show on your favorite platform. That's right. Wherever you are, we're there. If you're on YouTube, thank you for being there. Make sure you subscribe and like the video. If you're on the podcast, well, we appreciate you too. We hope you're getting a good workout in, or you are driving somewhere that you want to be. And if you're driving somewhere you don't want to be, hey, it'll be done soon and you'll be back where you want to be. And where we want to be right now is not in the off season. But unfortunately, today is the last day of spring practice for the most part. They have the spring game tomorrow. Then they've got, I think, a walkthrough on Monday or Tuesday, like a practice, but effectively it's the last day. So we're going to talk about where our expectations are, where they should be, and where you guys should be looking as fans when you think, what you should be looking at as fans when you think, hey, what's this team really going to be next year? I think Dave's a little more pessimistic than I am, but we will go through it. We're also going to touch on the NIL stuff with the launch of Rising Spear. That's been a big topic, and I'm just going to spoil it for y'all ahead of time. College football hasn't changed, but maybe we have, and maybe that is what we're upset about. Let's roll this video and let's dive in.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, folks, let's get to it. We are talking about spring coming to a close and what your expectations should be for this year's Florida State Seminoles in 2022. Dave, I know you got some stuff to get off your chest, man. Real quick, though, guys, subscribe, like, do all that. And Dave, let's dive in, man. Keep a little bit of positivity. Don't take a turn to negative town. But yeah, I feel like you're probably the most pessimistic one of us, and that's okay. But yesterday we touched on, hey, do we have the underlying fear this team may just suck this year? As I thought about it more, I don't know if I have that fear out of like for a good reason, or if it's just like I've been hurt so many times that I don't want to get excited. So I'm finding reasons that like, no. It's almost better to say we're going to win 4 games and then win 7 versus saying we'll win 8 and then winning 7. I don't know, man. Last day of spring practice, effectively. How you feeling?
Well, Max, I made that comment yesterday, just like thinking about reading the tone of the room. Like, we listen to and read what other, people on the beat are saying and what the fans are saying in the comments and in our comments and on other videos. And man, if I didn't know any better, it seems an awful lot like the consensus is that this is an 8-win team next year. And it could be, that's possible. But my concern is this. I just want to make sure we're having the same conversation here. Like, if it's the case that you hate the summer season and spring because all you like to do during those seasons is look forward to the fall, and you can't do that if you know or think we're going to suck, so you just really have to be optimistic to save your year, that's fine, man. Like, do that, whatever it takes to make yourself feel better. But if it's the case that you've taken in all the information you can and you've looked at the last half decade of what we've been, more than that now, and what you expect us to be next year is this vastly improved team that suddenly is going to compete for like top 25-ish quality overall, I just worry that you're being fed candy canes and you shouldn't be.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from. I think that I think we all say the same thing different ways to a degree. And I think that there is a lot in our fan base, and people will take this however they want, right? Some people probably already turned this off because they heard we're not, it sounds like you're just shitting on the team. And I know that's not what you're trying to do. But
no, I'm not.
I think we do this thing where we set a goal, right? Like 8 wins next year would be a great season because it would be.
Yep.
I mean, if we win 8 games next year, I will be very satisfied headed into 2023. But you're right in that we, like, over the offseason, that starts to become like, okay, this is our goal. then it becomes our expectation, and then it almost starts to become people's floor. And I think, I know it's Twitter, right? I know it's message boards. I know it's YouTube comments. But if you're one of the people that's starting to set 7 or 8 wins as your floor, there's a good chance you get disappointed next year. One of the comments today that I responded to, and I usually don't get combative in there, but I will. This one rubbed me the wrong way because it was just like someone that's just blowing the FSU smoke that was like, well, you were wrong about Tate Rodemaker. What was I wrong about Tate Rodemaker? Y'all haven't seen Tate Rodemaker play in a game since the University of Florida where he blew it and he looked awful. So great. Okay. Well, there's 15 spring practices. We've done what? We'll do 3 more as we're recording this. So we've done 12 of them. And you've heard he's had some good throws in spring practice. And that makes us wrong about Rodemaker. Give me a break.
Yeah.
But back to my main point, 8 wins is not your floor. 8 wins is a very, very good
year.
Now, it's an attainable good year for this team.
Yep.
Because you say, okay, what have you seen that makes you think this team's going to improve? And I made the point, or kind of pre-production, that, well, this team hasn't changed much. And last year, a few things break differently. Jordan Travis doesn't get hurt against Florida, and they're able to finish against Notre Dame. But I'm just saying, like, right there, you're at 7, right? Then you beat Jacksonville State, which I know is a travesty. Right there, you're at 8. So very quickly, I can name how you get to 8 wins last year. Heck, Clemson, you could probably get to 9. Last year was, so what is that between those 3 teams? A cumulative 15 points away from 9 wins?
Yeah, but that's
maybe a little more.
The point is, you just said we could get to 9 wins. That's true. We're not crazy far off, but you can go through next year's schedule and find both 9 wins and 9 losses. And like you said, roster hasn't changed much. I made the point pre-production that I'm not so sure that's a great thing for this particular team. And maybe it won't make the team worse. I don't know that it'll make us a whole lot better, although usually it does.
But we don't have to be better is my point, because look, and I will say this, it's intellectually dishonest or intellectually lazy at best to say, okay, well, you can find 9 wins and you can find 9 losses, but then only pick one of those 2. I agree that you're right. Like last year, sorry, let me turn this lamp off. Last year could have been like 9 wins. We just found it within 14, 15 points, whatever it was. Maybe it's 20 or something because of some late scores, but either way, right? But you also have to acknowledge that it wasn't a 9-win season. It was a 5-win season, but you can't kind of cherry pick there and say, okay, well, because we could lose 9 next year, it means we're not going to win 9. No, we could do both. And that's the tough part about analyzing this team.
All I'm going to say is this, man. We haven't made a bowl game in a long time at this point, or it feels like an awfully long time.
And we haven't made a bowl game that's mattered in like 6 years.
Right. You should be so happy to get back on our game 1 of a bowl streak. And I want to point out, I've said before, we need to win 8 games next year. So for me to say it would be a good year to make it back to a bowl game isn't inconsistent. To be on the trajectory I think most fans want us to be on, we do need to win 8 games next year. But still, making a bowl, just getting off that schneid of missing bowl games would be critical. Just like a 6-win season wouldn't be catastrophic. And I fear there's a lot of people that if we went out and went 6-6, that would just be like, all right, screw it, I'm done with this. And I don't know that I'm quite there, even though I sound pessimistic, which is weird.
No, but you're right in that, like, both things can be true because it's a sliding scale. I can say that 6 wins is better than 4, but I can also be upset we didn't win 8. Just like I'm going to be upset next year that we're not competing for a national championship relative to what my expectations were in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, even like 2015 and into 16, right? Like those are the expectations then. I can both consciously recognize that that is an unrealistic expectation to have next year, and also be frustrated that it was an expectation 7 or 8 years ago. So I'd like it to be an expectation this year. Am I making sense there?
Yeah.
Like totally. I can see it's okay to have both. Like anyway, I don't want to belabor the point. I think that the thesis statement here is for you are more pessimistic of the outlook, and for good reason. To me, I see a team that not a ton has changed. No, let me put it this way. There's no one that left. I'm going to miss Jermaine Johnson a lot, but there is no one that left that any handicapper in Vegas would have drastically changed a point spread had they been injured for a game last year. because they just aren't in positions that drastically change point spreads, right? Jayshon Corbin, Jermaine Johnson, you don't just statistically through correlative statistics, those positions don't really move the needle on games.
Yeah, look, I'm pessimistic.
I'm going to miss them, but they don't. So hang on. Let me just finish the thought. So my point there is just that if I see the same team and I see an easier schedule, which I believe this year our schedule is easier, I think we should win more games. So, but we're going to have to wait and see. Go ahead.
All I'm saying is I'm pessimistic relative to a lot of what I'm seeing, like just people saying that's all relative to what I'm gauging the fan base, a lot of them to be thinking right now, which is, like you said, that a lot of people seem to be setting this like 8-win team as like the floor. And I think that's unfair to themselves and to the team to just expect that. Like until I'm proven that this is an 8-win team, I'm just not going to set that expectation. I think it's unfair and you're going to find yourself disappointed in December.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the genesis of this conversation, but fair to make as a separate point. It's okay to say that 8 wins is a good season and a realistic goal. Both of those things are true. If you think that 8 wins is just going to happen, you're wrong. I would highly doubt you go into the Florida game with 8 wins. I would bet good money you go into that with 6 or 7. Now, if we want to get to 8, let's just use 8 as our barometer. You're going to have to win that Florida game, but you're also going to have to slug your way through the schedule. Like you're not just going to go out there and, win 7 games and then lose 4. No, this schedule is going to be, because this is how it always goes. Right now, I guarantee you there's some of you saying, where's the loss? Where are the losses on this schedule? Max and Dave don't know what they're talking about. I mean, LSU, but guys, this is going to be an up and down season, just like every season. We're just hoping there's more ups than there are downs. And I'm confident there will be. But if you go into this offseason thinking 8 wins is your floor, you're gonna, if not be let down, because we may win 8 games, you're gonna have a very stressful fall. So I mean, look, very similar team to last year. Could have won 8 or 9 games last year, but by the same token, they won 5. That means this team also could win 5 if things don't break the right way, but also could win 9. So it's a wait and see team for me. But Dave, it's not a wait and see thing for me.
What's that, Max?
What I'm going to eat after my workout tonight. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to go into my gym, home gym life. I'm going to hit a huge workout. Very excited. Getting on the road for the spring game tomorrow. So, I gotta get the last home workout in before I do that. And I'm gonna grab a Built Bar because, like I said, nothing wait and see about it. Protein shake in one hand, Built Bar in the other hand. That's all you guys need after a workout. So go to BuiltBar.com, use promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off. I think it's ridiculous that Built Bar gives you a 15% discount because I'd buy them for full price, but that discount code keeps working and they keep sending them. So go to BuiltBar.com, promo code LOCKed15. Folks, thanks for hanging with us through segment 1. If you are on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe, be part of the push to 1,000. We love you. We appreciate you. And if you're at the spring game this weekend or you're going to be there, shout at me in a comment below. I'm sure I'll be around, College Town. I'll be up in the Champions Club for the game. No press box this year. We did that last year, but I want to have a little fun this year. It's been I had a stressful couple months at work. I enjoyed it, but it was just, we had a big project. I'm ready to do the fun side of Florida State football, not the journalist side of Florida State football. So Dave, look, I think what we did was we sort of acted as a foil to what we feel like is becoming inflated expectations, but I don't think it's wrong to also point out things where we've improved. So what are you expecting to see improved in the spring game?
Well, what I'm expecting to see improved and that I almost wouldn't believe couldn't be improved is the wide receiver room, just the play at the wide receiver position. We have totally revamped and rehauled that room. And if that doesn't tell you what the coaching staff thought about the receiver room, which was the same thing we all thought, and it was a good feeling to see that the coaches have eyes the same way we do and that it validated what we all knew and thought, which was our receivers are really holding this team back. They're making Jordan Travis's life more difficult, which was already being made difficult by an offensive line trying to improve from bottom of the barrel. The receiver position is going to make or break this offense this year. If it's not competent, I don't think you're going to see this offense improve, especially with Jayshon Corbin gone. If the receiver room is competent, you're getting crisp routes and guys aren't dropping uncontested balls and they're not streaking down the field and, stop running all of a sudden, then I think you're going to see a well-functioning offense that maximizes Jordan Travis's abilities on the ground because the air is a threat, and that starts and ends with the receiver position.
Yeah, and can I say one thing about Jordan Travis too? Is he is what I'm looking at the least during this spring game. I want to see his throwing ability, but a spring game format just doesn't lend itself to Jordan Travis. Like, I'm already ready for the hype that like, oh, look, Tate Rodemaker looked better than Jordan Travis or this or that. But the reality is like, Jordan's not going to be able to run during the spring game, and his legs are what make him dynamic. The defense knows he's not going to be able to run, so they're not going to bite on anything. They're going to play good, sound defense. And I'm not saying that he can do no wrong in my eyes, because if his throws look bad, I'm going to talk about it. Don't get me wrong. But if his throws look solid, but it's like, okay, didn't get to see what his legs did. It's like, it's what I said about him and Mackenzie Milton last year, and people laughed at me. I was like, look, you only saw half of Jordan Travis. Like, it was really cool that they let Mackenzie do a run during the spring game and whatever. And people said, oh, his knee must be fine. But look how the season played out. So I want to show this play real quick, though, to show the improvement at receiver. If you're on YouTube, you get to see this. This is one that you sent me and we got to tweet out. So this is Johnny Wilson up against number 11. Is that Sam McCall? Who's number 11 now?
That's not Azaria, is it?
I don't know, dude. I'm bad with numbers on the outside. There's so many DBs, I can't keep them all straight. So right here, I mean, just a great job. Look at that. Nice little back shoulder. I want to show one more thing, though. I mean, this just shows what the size is, right? Because first, he wins. He is able to fight through off the line, right? We see him here.
Sam McCall.
DB gets the left hand on him. Good play by McCall there, who, by the way, that kid should be a senior in high school. He looks like a grown man out there. But Johnny Wilson's a unit. So he gets a hand on him. Johnny's able to watch that, fights through it. But then this is what I love. Watch the way he keeps that back shoulder leverage, gets turned around, and the ball comes in right over here. And he's able to suck it in and then, puts a move on him. Good job by McCall to stay with it. But that is the type of receiving. See right here. This is what I'm talking about. See how his shoulder, Dave, I was talking to you about this over text. Yeah. How he's able to keep his leverage kind of back and inside of McCall, right?
Yep.
That's great route running, because if he starts to slow up too much, McCall's going to read that it's some kind of stop route and is going to slow up with him. If he just takes off running and then McCall's off his back shoulder, well, when he goes to turn around, the ball's going to hit McCall, right? So really good job by Johnny. Really, really well done. Good route. Let's watch him. Sucks it in there. Probably did step out. Either way, that is something we didn't have last year, like that kind of good precision route running. So maybe Ron Dugans is doing his job. Maybe Johnny Wilson's just the truth. I think receivers is a good thing to watch, though. When I'm there, I am personally going to be interested in the offensive line. I'm not going to make a ton about how they're blocking, but I want to see when the starting five are out there, like, are they giving Jordan some kind of time? Like, if we start seeing these 1 and 2 second stacks, it's just like, But conversely, if he's having 3 to 4 second pockets every time, or, it looks like they've actually made some strides, I'm going to start feeling a lot more optimistic, because if we can block it up, we can run a lot of plays. Like, we have the skill people in the backfield. We've got Jordan Travis. We've got Lawrence Toafili. We've got Trayshawn Ward. Like, we have Benson. We've got guys that if we can block up front, we may get rid of our biggest problem from last year. And what was our biggest problem last year, Dave?
Our biggest problem was run blocking, actually.
Well, but I'm saying, like, it was those 1 and 2 yard first and second downs.
Yeah.
It was like going to third and long.
It was so predictable, our offense, because of that. Yeah. And Max, it's funny you point out the offensive line, and because of what I just said, a lot of people probably don't realize just how bad the run blocking was last year, which makes it all the more incredible what the run game was able to do. So I'm actually super interested to watch and see how they're blocking for the running backs, because I don't know that without Jashawn Corbin, you're going to be able to get the same kind of running back play with equally bad offensive line run blocking.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, though. I think the offensive line blocking was better last year than like a Pro Football Focus would suggest, because they were able to get.
That's where I'm getting that from. Yeah.
I think they were able to do more. Now, I don't know, though. There was so much misdirection, but then I don't know. My eyes told me last year that the offensive line was improved. It just looked better. They got more done. It wasn't great. And I don't know. All I'm saying is you can't start third downs on an average of like 3rd and 7. You have to get some 3rd and 3s, some 3rd and 4s. And to me, that starts with the offensive line. If they can get you like 3 and 4 yard pushes on first down, and then, 2nd down, now you can run some more trickery. Like this offense is predicated on misdirection trickery. Well, it gets really hard to do misdirection when it's obvious you have to throw the ball. It's really hard to do some kind of play action on 3rd and 7. The only reason it worked last year is because you had 2 guys back there between Corbin and Jordan Travis that were good enough with their legs that it actually was a threat they might get 7 yards. But good defenses aren't going to fall for that, right? Good defenses are going to do what Clemson did to you, right? They go into bracket coverage where if y'all don't know, by the way, we talked about this last year. I think I did a segment on it, but bracket coverage is essentially where you run a man-based zone. So you're almost running a zone tied to a receiver. So like if Dave's the safety and I'm the cornerback, right? And Drake's the receiver. As Drake's running, I'm in coverage as the cornerback. But I know if he gets behind me, that becomes like Dave's zone for Drake. So I can keep my eyes completely locked in on the quarterback, run with Drake, just make sure he doesn't get away. But I don't even have to look at what he's doing behind me, because the minute he starts to get separation, that becomes Dave's thing to go latch onto him. If Drake does an out route and Dave has over and outside, has the over and outside bracket, and I've got the under and inside bracket, again, my eyes never have to come off Jordan Travis because he hits an out route, boom, that's Dave's. I'm staying. Yeah. So a good defense runs that kind of coverage. Now Jordan's legs are less of a threat because you're not going to catch me on an out route. And now Jordan has a seam because I'm just going to cheat inside and wait for Jordan to come to me. Sorry, that wasn't supposed to be a film breakdown. My point was just like, we need to be able to block it up. That way we can get out of these 3rd and longs, because 3rd and long, trying to convert those is not a sustainable strategy to win a bunch of football games.
Well, speaking of winning a bunch of football games, and I know this is going to make this segment extra long, but there's one name that a lot of people are watching this spring game for, thinking that he's going to win us a lot of games, right? And whether it be this year or next or the year after. A lot of people are probably going to be thinking AJ Duffy.
I am excited to see what he looks like.
Jameis Winston. I am too. But I think a lot of people are wondering, could this be Jameis? Let's find out.
No one's thinking this is. Yeah, folks. No, first of all, I've really been impressed by what I've seen from AJ Duffy.
Yeah, for sure.
But you also have a kid who played, or I guess had his season canceled in California, maybe? Did he play some of the season in 2020? Whatever. He was like sophomore in junior in high school. Then he went to IMG. And
which is like a college team.
Right. So he was definitely preparing, right? Definitely getting better, but he didn't play a full season there. So he definitely needs to get some actual football under his belt, like probably a year of college, maybe 2 even. I mean, look, he's got to play more football, plain and simple. Yeah. Like he's got the talent. You look at him, he's huge. He's like 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds, 210 pounds. He looks thick and stocky. He's got a good arm.
Looks like Sam Howell-ish.
A little bit, yeah. I just don't think he's football, like college game ready yet. But I'm excited to see how he looks. Same thing I said with Kenaya Charlton on the offensive line, right? Who's 6'5", 348 pounds. I'm not expecting him to start next year or really even contribute. But in a spring game, I'm still excited to see what he does.
Right.
Like my eyes are gonna, when Duffy comes out, like I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, like let's see how this looks. I'm not gonna say he'll be your starter next year, but I'm excited. And Dave, you know what else I'm excited for?
What's that?
Telling the folks where they can put their MLB action down. And that is at betonline.net. Folks, I'm not a gambler of MLB, but if you are, that season's hot right now. It's starting. It's opening day. What did Drake say? It smells like seam spirit.
Seam spirit.
I'd never heard that before, but
I don't like it.
I don't know. Nirvana puns. Come on, man.
I hear.
Anyway, if you're watching baseball though, and you're trying to get action down, go to betonline.net or betonline.ag, and it is the place for you. Make an account, use promo code Locked On, and you will get a welcome bonus on the first $100 you put in. That's right. You put in 100, they'll put in 100. Now you got 200 to play with. There's also NHL. There's also NBA. They've got everything, folks. So check it out. betonline.net, where the game starts. All right, man. So that was a bit of, so we've talked expectations. We've talked what we're going to want to watch. And I want to talk NIL now because I don't know. It's been a hot topic with Rising Spear coming out. And I think that the general thought seems to be the same, right? college football is going to be ruined. And all the money is going to go to these rich programs, and Florida State won't be able to compete, and this and that and the other. And I'm just going to go ahead and not bury the lead. I don't think college football is changing at all. I think our place in it is, and I think that pisses us off. But if you look back, since the playoffs started, there have been 13 teams to fill 32 playoff slots. That's right. Since the playoffs started, there have been 32 available slots. Only 13 teams have made it to the playoff. By the way, of the last 16 available playoff slots, that's the last 4 years, the last 16 available playoff slots, there have been 3 first-time participants in the playoff.
Yeah.
Okay. One of those was LSU, who caught lightning in a bottle with Joe Burrow and is showing absolutely no signs. That's right. I said it. I don't care what y'all think about Brian Kelly. They have shown no signs of getting back there anytime soon. They immediately fell off a cliff.
Cincinnati.
One of those is Cincinnati, who, I mean,
adorable.
Built a little, little program going on.
Real running start.
I know you don't like, but still, but they're probably not, like, again, you probably won't see another group of 5. So I'm also going to put that as a flash in the pan, because until expansion happens, I don't think you see it again. And then Michigan, Michigan legitimately earned their way in, right? You'll see some of those, but Michigan has been on the outside looking in and been very close to getting in, right? LSU is a traditional power. Okay. However, beyond Cincinnati, I guess maybe Washington, and I don't know who else, Oregon. Oregon, even pre-playoff, were up there, right? They were perennial top teams. So the point I'm making is that college football has always been a sport of power consolidation. It has always been a sport where the rich teams have the best results, where the teams that have access to things that other schools don't have access to have the best results. Florida State didn't just magically get good because people felt like we should be good. We cornered the market along with Miami on Florida recruiting back before modern telecommunication technology and modern travel made it easy for people to communicate with, to travel to go see, and then national TV contracts made it possible for parents to see their kids play every single weekend, even if they left the state. I mean, it's like I'm sorry, I know I'll let you chime in a second, but it's like we're in this bubble, and y'all forget that less than 30 years ago, you couldn't watch FSU games every Saturday if you did not live close to Florida State or close to their opponent. This is a new phenomenon, being able to just go online and watch your kid play at Florida State. So we had that market cornered. Well, that first mover advantage on recruiting in Florida, it doesn't exist anymore. So now the advantages are money. So yes, money is talking right now, and we may not have it to the scale that Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, heck, maybe even Clemson, Texas A&M have it. But that doesn't mean that the landscape maybe the landscape, but the sport of college football is not changing. It is still setting up to be a sport where 4 to 6 teams absolutely dominate everyone else. And it is just a race to try to win your conference, get to a good bowl game, win that bowl game, be happy that you won 10, 11, whatever games, and look forward to cheering on your team the next season. That's what it's always been. We used to just be a part of that upper echelon, and now people are afraid for good reason. And I echo the fear, and I hope it doesn't happen, but people are afraid that we won't be part of the top tier anymore. And because of that, they're saying, oh, the sport's just changing. It's just so different than this and that. No, it's not different.
Yeah.
We just don't like where the chips fell.
And it sucks. That's not unfair, but I will say this. If you think that the current landscape with the NIL isn't exactly the same as it was before, in terms of the fact that like Alabama was making sure these kids got their money and, those things were already happening. Alabama fans set like a portion of their salary aside every year, no matter how much or how little money they're making, to Alabama football, because that's like tithing for them. It's like religion. And so when Florida State fans say, oh, now there's Rising Spear, I already have to give to the boosters. Now I have to do this. Yes. If you want to be good and you're complaining that, oh, we're losing our place in the college football landscape, yes, that is part of what you have to do if you want to stay competitive with them. Now, I don't think it's the money is going to find its way there for Florida State. Like, we're not going to fall behind in this sense because of NIL that all of a sudden we're just so financially unable to compete that we should never expect to be able to win another national championship. I don't think that's the case. Like, we should still be able to make sure the money gets to the top recruits. Like, the Travis Hunter thing was unfortunate, but that was a weird circumstance. We probably should have gotten him. But as long as we get back to recruiting at a high level, which NIL will play a large part in, we got to make sure those kids get what's theirs because they can get it somewhere else. And everybody has to do their part. And Rising Spear is extremely important. Yes, it sucks. You have to do boosters and now that, but
you have to do something. I mean, most people don't even do boosters, to be honest. Our annual fund has like 10,000 people in it, but I'm getting off topic here. My point is just that, well, actually, you've expanded to another point of like, put up or shut up, folks. Yeah, sorry, it's pay to play and we all have to pay. But you don't have to want to be good, right? It's like everyone wants to get promoted and make more money, but not everyone wants to do the job of their boss. Yeah, we don't like Florida State to be great again. Well, let me ask you this. If you're listening to this, you have to answer it yourself. Do you give to the boosters? Have you tried to find where you can write NIL checks? If you have, great. Let's work together on it. If you haven't, that's fine. That's fine. Keep listening to the podcasts. Keep going on message boards. Keep watching Florida State. But just understand that we're not going to compete with schools where they have 20 or 30,000 people give a recurring annual amount of money to their booster fund when we have 10,000 or less. That's just not realistic. And that's not how competing at scale works. It just isn't. I know, again, this got a little meandery. It's been a hot topic. And I wanted to cover off that our place in the landscape will change if we don't do something about it. One, we got to step up. Two, we have to figure out this conference situation because the SEC is getting so much more money than us each year that they're going to be able to afford to have a booster fund and a whatever NIL fund and use their TV money to pay coaches $8 million a year. We'll only get to pick one. So you're right. Even if we get to booster our boosters in our NIL fund, whatever you want to call it, Rising Spear, Warpath, whatever, to the level of those schools, what good is that, right? When we're losing $35 million a year in the foot race of TV money. So we have to figure that out, but we've got to start fixing what we can instead of focusing on what we can't. And people have to start giving to the boosters, or we just have to accept that we're not going to be that good. So,
and we might get lucky every now and then.
Right. And we may, Pop. I don't even want to get into the combo of would we have gotten Jameis in NIL era. I don't want to get into it. I like to think we did. I'm just going to tell myself we would have, and that's it. Right. Folks, I will be at the spring game. If you're going to be there, feel free to let me know or don't. It's up to you. But either way, follow me on Twitter at MaxMoody17. You can follow him on Twitter at G0NOLE5. That's Go Noles with a 0 in the go and a 5 on the Noles. I'm Max. That was Dave. And this was Locked On Seminoles.
Go Noles.
I got it. I looked it up.
I didn't even know that.
I hope that's what it is.